The Osundario brothers have finally spoken out outside of the confines of the courtroom in regards to the Jussie Smollett situation, and boy is it quite hilarious. But we'll get there in due time. There's a couple of things I want to touch on before we get around to it, and funnily enough, it all does kind of link together, so do indulge me or press ahead, probably like a couple of minutes at this point in time if you don't want to have your mind blown with some facts and logic. But anyways, first and foremost, man, just one of the most predictable things that could possibly happen today. Tristan Tate, the other Tate brother, the one who's not as famous but is a far better dresser, to be completely honest, he had his bail hearing today. It was denied, alongside, I do believe, Luana also had. Regardless, all of their bail hearings are going to get denied, and they're going to stay in jail for what reason at all whatsoever. Like, you'd think that at some point in time, Romania is going to realize that the farce is up, and they're either going to have to shit or get off the pot, but that could also take up another 3 months, and then who even knows, it might end up just dropping some dog shit charge on everybody at the end of the day just to justify their undue detention. But there are some good people that are, in fact, on the case. And they've been working tirelessly for the past couple of months. Like yesterday, if you guys were following the more Tate-centric video, we heard from one of the original lawyers on the scene saying that, yeah, the whole bail hearing and the fact that it's been denied is unjust and all that stuff. But we know how far that goes at this point in time, because realistically, the detention in and of itself is a bit unjust with all of the evidence that's out there. But what kind of institutional help are the Tate crew getting at this point in time? Because you have to remember, the girls themselves, I do believe that they are full-blooded Romanian women, or at least they have citizenship there, something like that. But the Tate brothers themselves, they're dual citizens. And because you have a situation like this, normally you would have the embassy involved of those two countries where they hold passports, and yes, they own multiple passports, they flexed on that, or at least that's been the allegation for a while. But the brothers were raised in the UK, now reside, at least temporarily, well, actually they have since the beginning of the year, reside in Romania. It's a crude joke, but then also they have residence in Dubai as well. But where were they born? The United States. So you would think, because given the fact that they still have their passports for the United States, they're American citizens. They have to pay American taxes because the IRS doesn't give a shit where you call home. They still want their due at the end of the day. So, by law, the United States would be looking after their own citizenry, both foreign and domestic. And I haven't heard a lot of people bring up this talking point before. Now, the UK, they're all busy. It's like, well, okay, you guys are only half black, and already helped raise you by providing a council estate in Luton during your early years, so I think we're already covered on this one. But as for the United States side, now, they kind of have a bit of a history, definitely a recent history in dealing with half-black imprisoned pseudo-celebrities abroad, making very, very stupid exchanges, or at least placing a phone call on their behalf. But no, that ain't happening this time around, okay? Neither of the Tate brothers are gay like that. Hell, what was one of those clips that got Andrew super canceled over that stuff, saying that even if his brother, Tristan in this situation, needed CPR, that would be gay to give it to him. The fucking hilarious joke, but I'm sure there's some trad cucks that are out there just being, oh my god, it wouldn't even save his brother. This is the type of toxically masculine individual that the youth of today are looking up to. They should be inspired by the work of Karl Rove. Fucking morons. But no, in regards, that is an unfortunate pause frame, but regardless, in regards to the U.S. Embassy, at least, they've been contacted by the people that are representing the Tates, and what have they provided to the situation? Exactly what you'd expect them to. So I'm going to roll this clip just a little bit. It is Patrick Bet-David's podcast. This was from a couple of weeks ago, February 24th. I listened to it. And it's 50 minutes. You can watch it if you like. Obviously, the link is going to be in the description down below. Feel free. if you've been following the case in the same way that I have, or just following any of my coverage that's on the channel, you can kind of save yourself the 50 minutes. I'm just going to play the relevant short clip that's going to be in here for context on this. But the lawyer, Tina Glandian, doesn't really provide any substance on this one, except for this little tidbit, because this is the first time that the U.S. Embassy's involvement has been addressed, and, well, you know, I'll let it roll for itself.
Not a fair thing they're doing.
I mean, who I did call when I was in Bucharest was the U.S. Embassy to see if I could get assistance with this. But they pretty much just deferred me to my Romanian counsel and said I have to work with them and follow the procedure that they recommend. So ultimately, they weren't really much help in me trying to achieve that.
Yeah, so Tina Glandian, the international lawyer, because again, the Tates are dual citizens in the UK and the US, she's trying to reach out and get any help from anybody possible, because that's where her expertise lies. And if you're familiar with Tina Glandian, when she was brought onto the case by the Tate crew at large, she is somebody with a fairly notable record to her name. She's represented a bunch of big clients. We talked about Chris Brown, and she was on one of the defense teams for Michael Jackson as well. And one other person as well, and that's where we circle all the way back to Jussie Smollett. Now, well, I don't necessarily hold that against her at all. She also managed to get this dude. She was a part of a team, obviously, but she managed to get this dude a sweetheart of a fucking deal, and then managed to get his appeal heard like that. But Romania is a different beast at the end of the day. And the Tates have very different politics to that of Jussie Smollett being tried in Chicago, the home of the Obamas, where he has very deep connections. I understand that it is a little bit different, but I also wanted to give a Tate update. And then I seen this Jussie Smollett related video pop up, and it's like, might as well kill several birds with one stone. Why not? Nigerian brothers who were paid $3,500 by shamed Empire actor, shamed Mighty Ducks actor. Come on, we'll go with the more famous role, unless Empire was hitting like that. The only time that I heard of this show, I think I seen one commercial for it, and all the other times I've ever heard it referenced is to Jussie Smollett, who was being written out of the show and didn't have any further career prospects, so he's just decided, aha, race crime. Fuck. But yes, paid $3,500, who he's probably calling the brothers back at this point for. It's like, you still got that cash? And he's like, no. Jussie Smollett to stage hate crime in Chicago street, a recreate attack to show exactly how they made it look as though he really did get his ass beat. It's very interesting because like this trial happened right at the end. I think it was like October or November of 2021. Like it was close to the end of the year. There was another trial that was going on of some significance. But yeah, the only thing that was actually televised was the sentencing portion of that, and it was long and drawn out and boring. But remember, Jussie was up against six charges, and he only got convicted on 5 of them. Tried to put down a thumb to represent 5. Very big smart. You didn't see off screen. I had another 2 anyways. And for those 5 counts of lying to the police, he only got a sentence, which is still being appealed at this point in time, of 150 days in jail. He spent a grand total of what, 2 and change? So yeah, Tina Glandian is definitely accomplished when it comes to navigating high-profile cases. So anybody trying to shame a lawyer for who they previously represented before, listen, being a lawyer's kind of a dirty gimmick. Like, if you're a criminal defense lawyer, you gotta represent some reprehensible individuals to the best of your abilities. So unless it's the likes of Elaine Bredehoff, who just exposed herself for being a terrible trial lawyer, I never disqualify a lawyer based on who they represent. Like the other guy that was there, what's his nuts there? Rottenborn on Amber Heard's side. You're pretty fucking decent. If I was in a pinch and I needed somebody to defend me on that table over there, it'd definitely be him, because yeah, Amber Heard ended up getting what, 1 count and a couple of $1 million knocked off because one of the claims stuck, and you could pretty much attribute that directly to Rottenborn because he was the only one that was worth any sort of weight as a lawyer at that table. So hey man, that's why when I seen Tina Glandian's name run around and people were, oh my god, we need to take a look at who she used to represent. Oh, Jussie Smollett. And it's like, yeah, he ended up beating the system in court once again. Like, okay, cool. That's an L for representing a liar. But with all of the evidence that was there, she still managed in some part, we don't know the entire extent of what she added to the team, but she was at least partially credible for getting that result for her client under the mountain of evidence against him. And given the Tate situation, all of the exculpatory evidence that hasn't even been provided to the court so far for any sort of justification for getting those boys out of prison, it's a good find. It's definitely a good find, and her history speaks for itself. Well, I should talk about how the Osundario brothers are out here starting a prank channel. Hello, hi everyone, it's Abi over here and my brother Ola, and we're gonna tell you how we beat up Jussie Smollett for $3,500. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more HOAX videos like this. Okay, we're going to start now. Anyways, Nigerian brothers who were paid by disgraced Empire actor Jussie Smollett to carry out the staged attack on him have broken their silence in a bombshell interview and recreated the incident to show how they made it look real. In a segment for a Fox Nation docuseries on Smollett's web of lies, brothers I remember they were referred to as Abby and Ola because Abimbola and Olabinjo, way too many fucking syllables to repeat over and over again, so it's Abby and Ola for the rest of this. You know exactly who I'm going to be referencing. Explain exactly what happened on January 29th, 2019. Wow, the last full year that the world was alright. Anyways, when they confronted the one-time actor. The one-time actor? No, come on, he had a couple of roles. None of them really significant or really hit like that, but alright. On the streets of Chicago, Smollett had claimed he was attacked by white supremacists. Those guys right there. Literally. Okay, he's a liberal black guy in Chicago. He doesn't know any white people? Like, the fuck? Who called him the N-word. Nice? Narcissistic? Which N-word are we talking about? And yelled, "This is MAGA country!" on the north side of Chicago, the good side of Chicago, at 2 o'clock in the morning on one of the coldest nights of the year, while he was out getting a Subway sandwich. All right. In an apparent effort to blame the racism on former President Donald Trump. Yeah, by just tying together some of the oldest tropes imaginable, you can understand why Jussie was simply an actor, never a writer or a producer, because the motherfucker is so uncreative. But an investment later found that Smollett... Oh, an investigation, sorry. There's no investment here, because I don't even know what you call $3,500 to drum up a hate crime, but to each their own. Staged the entire thing, paying the brothers $3,500 for the attack in a shameless bid to coax sympathy from the public. He was convicted on 5 felony counts in 2021 and that was all the way back in 2021? Holy fuck. Mine does weird things whenever crazy shit like this happens. And sentenced to 150 days behind bars, but was released while his legal team appeals his conviction. Shout out to Tina one more time. Hey man, it's like Jussie's a fucking liar, but she's working wonders on this, so big W. But yes, he was just beat to death, and oh my god, it's just big racism that's out there, yes. That's the face of somebody who paid $3,500 on Wish for a hate crime, and then that's what they ended up getting. Holy. It's like if you wanted to take this seriously, that $3,500 would go a little bit further in the deepest, darkest parts of Alabama. Just saying, just saying. In Jussie Smollett, Anatomy of a Hoax, the Osundario brothers return to the scene of the crime and share how they gave him a noogie and poured bleach on his shirt before they ran away in the darkness of night. Well, to be fair, it could be like 6 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a joke, folks. It's a joke. I want to run just a little bit of this because I want to see that noogie play out in real time because I think these boys are fucking hilarious. Yeah, man, let's get some sound because, okay. Yeah, we've seen this angle from the security cam footage, okay, where the two brothers were walking after said attack, allegedly, but yeah, now they're just running it back.
As we crossed the street, we said, hey, to get his attention.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick. Hey. He turned around, looked at us, and that's when we started yelling the famous slurs he wanted us to yell. Hey.
Aren't you that Empire?
Hey, Empire fat Nick. It's MAGA country.
Yeah.
And then he's...
To be fair, okay, this is whatever. I don't care. That sounds like a whole bunch of fun, you know, without, you know, all of the fake police reports and shit. Anyways.
Said, what did you say to me? And then that's when I threw the first punch at him.
Yeah!
I held the blow because I didn't want to hurt him, of course.
Okay.
So I made it look real, but I held it. And we started tussling, moving around, and then I threw him to the ground.
At the same time,
he wanted it to look like he fought back. That was very important for him because he said, hey, don't just beat my ass, make it look like I'm fighting back and whatnot. So we did that.
And none of that was caught on security camera.
And while after I threw him to the ground, he had no bruise. I wanted it to look more real. So then I threw him to the ground. After I threw him to the ground, I used my knuckle and gave him a noogie.
Run his pockets.
So I went like this.
Oh, it's not like that.
Why did I do that? To give him a scar, to give him a mark, to make it look real. Like,
oh, that was
really
the oh my god! So that was from a noogie. Oh my god!
SB. After I did that, I fake kicked him. I don't know what he was doing. I wasn't paying attention.
That's where I came around with the bleach, the infamous bleach in the hot sauce bottle, poured it on his shirt. Then I finally
these guys really are fucking discount attackers. Anyways,
the rope around his face. I did not put it around his neck. I just placed it on his face, and that's when we took off.
That shit is fucking hilarious. Yo, this is the first, I'm sure that these pictures have been out there before, but this is the first time that I've actually seen the so-called noose. It's like, bro, that's just string that you can buy at a hardware store that's still 3/4 of the way inside of the package. And what the fuck are you pulling with that? Like, Christ almighty. When the cops arrived at Smollett's apartment 40 minutes after he made the call to the police about the hate crime, he still had the white noose around his neck and said he left it on to show the cops what happened, as he also pointed to the bleach on his shirt. Yeah, don't mind the smell. I know it smells like Clorox and Frank's Red Hot, but you know, it's close, right? Yeah, they tried to get me. But yo, I've never actually seen that noose before. I heard that the rope was just absolutely atrocious and not fit for purpose, but that really does take the cake. It's like, that's a clothesline, for Christ's sakes. And I was like, oh yeah, it was for hanging laundry. No, it's also for hanging... Anyways, but after just 3 days of probing the incident, cops began to hone in on the brothers and subsequently suspected that Smollett's hate crimes were in fact bogus. Yeah, you know, the whole big giant African attackers being supposed white supremacists that probably threw everybody off a bit. Cops quickly encountered a roadblock after learning the pair were out of the country, but they'd only have to wait for a couple of weeks before they could return, and then completely cooperated, and then just ended up leading to the absolute shit show that was the Jussie Smollett trial, with probably my funniest thing, at least the one that sticks in my mind, apparently 2 years later at this point in time. The fuck if I could recall. Jesus, anyways. That was in close proximity to the Kyle Rittenhouse trial? Fucking Christ, man. Yeah, there was also allegations. Oh my god, it's still very funny. That lawyer, because that's another one of his lawyers right behind her, he had like a team of like a half dozen high-paid attorneys. And the judge, who looked like a roadie for Foghat, apparently was being testy, which, if this was being broadcast, we would have been able to corroborate that story, which I'm pressing fucking X'd it out on. Apparently, that attorney behind Jussie, I forget her name, it's not really terribly important or anything, tried to drum up the victimhood card, sympathy card, and she stormed out of the courtroom one day and then tried to get a mistrial because the judge was being mean and her feelings got hurt. Oh man, just... What an epoch in time, truly, to just go back on and take a look at. And the fact that the brothers did us such a solid in recreating the event. I wonder if that was afforded to the jury in the trial, but it was at least put out there for the adoring Fox Nation viewers to take a look at. It's very, very strange. And the fact that one of the Tate's lawyers managed to get this provable, verifiable liar, not just out on appeal, but also, what, a maximum sentence of more time than what the Tates have actually spent in captivity right now. That's a W that you can see in a gigantic L that is Jussie. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.